family workshops and communication strategies. Today we step into the heart of every home, and that is communication. Hello and welcome to Safe Settings Podcast. I am your host, Adedamola Flourish Balami. Today we listen, we connect, and we grow together because strong families are not built on perfection. They are built on conversations that feel safe. Family workshops and communication strategies. A lot of the time people say, I don't need any workshop. It's just as it is. Two people living together. Whatever it is we see, we deal with and we move on. However, family workshops and communication strategies create intentional spaces where parents, children, and caregivers learn to understand one another deeply. Communication is a two-way process. It is not only about talking. Communication involves a sender sharing a message, a receiver accurately understanding that message, and responding appropriately. Should we underline the word accurate and appropriate? When meaning is not received or understood, communication has not truly happened. And so, communication is more than speaking. This is why it is more than speaking. It is more than hearing. It is listening without rushing to respond. Listening to understand. It is responding without dismissing feelings. So you must understand the words, you must understand the message, you must understand the emotion behind the message. It requires understanding the message and the emotions behind the message to avoid the use of the word must. And it is creating moments where every voice feels valued. That is when communication is taking place. Many conflicts at home, they do not come from lack of love. They do not come from lack of care. Sometimes they come from misunderstood emotions and unclear expectations. So you are caring for her your way, she's caring for him her way, and nobody is getting what they truly desire because communication is missing. Healthy communication requires use of calm tones instead of raised voices. We tend to raise our voices when we think that the other person is not hearing us. So we want them to hear us and we start raising our voices. So healthy communication can look like using calm tones instead of raising voices. It can also come in the form of asking open-ended questions. So we're encouraging dialogue, conversation. We're not asking questions to give us yes or no answer and we move on. It can also come in the form of reflecting feelings before offering solutions. When you understand the emotions behind the communication, then you want to actually pause and reflect on what could be going on there before you start offering solution. Oftentimes you hear women say, the issue they have is that whenever they take any matter to their spouse or to their husband, he just starts giving them answers and solutions and he starts solving it for them. They are not looking for you to solve it for them. They just want you to hear them. Some say they just want the husband to be the sounding board. And the man will be like, so why did you come to me? I am wired to take care of all your troubles. But when we reflect feelings, we understand the emotions behind communication. We know the intent. We tend to respond appropriately. Let me use that word. So instead of saying, why are you behaving like this? You could say, help me understand what you're feeling right now. Somebody has told you the whole event of what happened in their office or what happened with a child or something. You just say, let me understand how you're feeling right now or what you're feeling right now, because that's why you can actually respond appropriately. Consistent, emotionally safe conversations will strengthen your bond in the family, will strengthen the bonds that exist between spouses, that exist that exists between parents and children, and it will support emotional regulation. Consistent, emotionally safe conversations will strengthen your bond and will support your emotional regulation. So when children feel heard, the stress responses that you see in them will reduce. And that is a brain work. It sends a message to their brain that there is no more stress. So stress responses reduce and cooperation becomes easier in the family. You are able to get their attention. You are able to get their cooperation to achieve whatever it is you want to achieve, even if it is house chores. So instead of running after one person to do their chores, they are more cooperative and they do their chores. And it also makes problem solving easier, because if a child is having academic issues or emotional issues and you have not been able to communicate with that child to the point that you understand what they are trying to say, you might not be able to help them and the problem persists in the family. So why do we have to discuss family workshops? Because our own family workshop is upcoming and we'll be sharing the information with you. And the essence of family workshops is that it helps translate these principles of communication, principles of listening and understanding into practice. You will practice, you will act it out and see how it works. And they provide guided conversations, shared activities, reflective exercises that bring families closer without pressure. So you might want to consider attending our family workshop that is upcoming. Information will be shared as we go on in this season. Communication strategies in practice. How do we communicate such that the sender of the message sends the message and the receiver receives and understands the message and is able to respond appropriately? The receiver understands accurately and responds appropriately. The first thing I would like to share with us is the listening pause. When somebody is speaking to you, they're communicating their needs, they're communicating an event. Listen and let the intention of listening not be to be able to respond. And pause a few seconds even before you respond so that you process what they are saying. If it's with children that they are speaking to you, help them name the emotions. Put words to their feelings, because sometimes they will not be able to name that emotion, but they are trying to express something. And then collaborative problem solving, where you invite the person, whether your partner or your child, you invite them into the solutions that you are going to create together, instead of giving commands or solving it all by yourself. Somebody comes to you to narrate their day, you find a solution to it, you point out they are wrong to them, and you tell them you can go and solve it. That's not communication. That's not conversational. That's not a dialogue in the family. That's like you are just there as a savior. You solve everything and everybody goes. All right, so collaborative problem solving requires that you invite the person into the solution instead of giving the command or solving it. So when families practice these small strategies repeatedly, communication becomes less reactive and more supportive. And that's our aim, to have a more supportive home where communication is free and is safe. As we reflect on communication within our families, I want to ask a gentle question, or a few gentle questions, so to say, because sometimes small shifts are required to create the biggest changes that we're looking for. So think about your home for a moment. Was there a communication habit that slowly changed the atmosphere? Have you noticed any communication habit in your home that changes the atmosphere, whether with your husband or with your children or with the entire family? Maybe it was pausing before responding, or choosing a calmer words, or simply listening a longer time, or listening longer than usual. Have you ever noticed that change the atmosphere? Have you noticed that give you a better result? Because it is these quiet adjustments that we make that bring more peace into our daily conversations and our home. And if it is in the negative, is there any communication habit that you have noticed that whenever you respond like that, it changes the atmosphere? Maybe you respond in the negative. Maybe you respond by yelling. Maybe you respond by answering questions with questions. Maybe you respond by avoidance, avoiding the real gist and deflecting. Whatever it is that you have noticed that changes your atmosphere, whether positive or negative, identify it and make positive adjustment towards the desired environment that you want in your home. I would ask again the second question. In any situation that you have found yourself and you needed to be understood, what helped you to feel more heard? What helped you to feel more understood or truly understood within your family space? What's that thing that made you feel like, oh, right now they have understood me, or my spouse understands what I'm saying, my children have gotten what I'm passing across? What helped you to feel more heard? Was it when someone listened without interrupting? Was it when they listened without immediately suggesting a solution? Or was it when they just paused and validated your feelings? Or they asked to know what you are really feeling part time? When your feelings were acknowledged, did it help? Did it change anything? Or was it the advice given that helped you feel understood? Whatever it is, always know that when conversations feel safe enough, honesty comes out. And what you are looking for is honest support, sincere understanding, where you feel like, at least in my home, I'm understood and I'm supported, and it is true and it is honest. Take a moment to notice what made that difference, because understanding what works will help you build more connected home. I'll say that again. When you understand what works, it will help you build a more connected home. This reflection that we just had now reminds us that communication is not about perfection. We're not saying we will all get it right. We will say the right thing. We will, sometimes our communication can lead to a tensed environment, but we will find a way to reduce the tension as we gain understanding of each other's perspective. So it is about presence. It is not about perfection. Communication is about patience. It is about the willingness to keep learning how to hear one another before correcting, how to hear one another before judgment, how to hear one another before preferring solution, so that we understand where the other person is coming from and we're able to intentionally respond in such a way that they feel heard, they feel seen, they feel understood, and communication has taken place because they now respond appropriately. All right, here are the practical takeaways from today's episode. The first thing is to create a weekly check-in conversation with your family. Endeavor to do it. Create a weekly check-in conversation with your family. Use statements like I feel instead of you are, you're always. Avoid the use of absolutes. You're always, you have never. So use statements like I feel understood, or I feel listened to, or I feel misunderstood when you talk like that. So have that weekly check-in conversation and use such statements to express yourself without blaming the other person. So avoid the use of blame languages, and then celebrate moments of listening, not only moments of agreement, but moments where you know that your spouse has sincerely listened to you and you feel listened to, or moments where you have listened to your child and your child feels understood. Celebrate those moments. So the practical takeaways, I take them again. Create a weekly family check-in conversation. Use I feel statement instead of the blame language, and celebrate moments of listening, not only moments of agreement. Here is the challenge for the week. This week, try one family conversation ritual, like 5 minutes of uninterrupted listening. No correction, no interruption, just presence. Just allow them express themselves and listen to them wholeheartedly without preparing to respond, but to really understand. And notice what shifts when everyone feels heard in the family. On this note, we have come to the end of this episode, and I am here to remind you that communication is not about winning a conversation. It is about building connection. Every gentle conversation that we have plants a seed of trust, and something beautiful is unfolding in your family. Until next time, enjoy your day. Bye-bye.